Every Christian has heard this verse. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. For years, many have assumed Jesus was speaking about Satan. But what if I told you Jesus never actually says that? What if the greatest mystery in John 10 isn't what the thief does, but who the thief is? Today, we're going to let Scripture answer that question. To understand verse 10, we must first understand verse 1. That line is powerful because it teaches viewers to read passages in context. The greatest thief in the Bible, was it really Satan? Before we answer that question, let's allow Scripture to speak before tradition does. Most people hear John 10:10. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy, and immediately think of Satan. But here's the question. Did Jesus actually say the thief was Satan? Let's go back to the beginning of the conversation. In John 10, Jesus isn't talking about demons. He's talking about shepherds. He describes a shepherd, a doorkeeper, the sheep, strangers, thieves, robbers, and hired hands. Every character in the story is connected to God's flock. Then Jesus says something that should make every Bible student stop and think. All who came before me are thieves and robbers. John 10:8. Notice the wording. Came before me. Who came before Jesus? Satan didn't arrive before Jesus in Israel claiming to be the Messiah, but many false messiahs, false teachers, and corrupt spiritual leaders did. They claimed authority. Yet they never entered through God's appointed way. They climbed in another way. That's why Jesus calls them thieves and robbers. Now read verse 10 again. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. The chapter never changes subjects. Jesus is still contrasting himself with those false shepherds. So what were they stealing? Not money first, not possessions first. They were stealing something far more valuable, the knowledge of God. They took people who were meant to hear God's voice and made them follow human voices instead. They replaced truth with tradition, relationship with religion, the shepherd's voice with their own authority. That is why Jesus immediately declares, I have come that they may have life and have it abundantly. The opposite of the thief isn't simply surviving. It's hearing the true shepherd. It's knowing the Father. It's receiving the life only Christ gives. Does this mean Satan has nothing to do with stealing, killing, and destroying? Not at all. Scripture clearly describes Satan as a deceiver. But in John 10, Jesus is speaking directly about false shepherds who act as instruments of destruction among God's people. The immediate context points first to them, and perhaps that's the deeper warning. Sometimes the greatest danger to the sheep doesn't come from outside the fold. It comes from voices inside it. So the question isn't only, who is the thief? The greater question is, whose voice are you following? Because Jesus ends the discussion with these words, My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. Maybe the greatest theft has never been your possessions. Maybe it's been your ability to recognize the voice of the true shepherd. Follow Spiritual Lens, Bina, as we uncover the depth of Scripture, one passage at a time.